and probably let's divest ourselves of it. That, you know, with all the things that happen in the nation, the tendency is to become very negative about them, and that you continuously point out these negative things, and then you just have a negative seeking society. Let me paint the picture for you.
All right, paint the picture, Picasso.
All right, thanks very much. My brush is out.
Yes.
And you say, okay, well, why is it that all the headlines that we see are negative? Why do we pick out on those headlines and want to open them up a little bit more? Why do we always find something? Like, can't we look for the positive and talk about those things? Because after all, development begets development, does it not? You talk about the good things, and that will, you know, give folks who are doing these good things to continue doing better things. Is it wrong to point out the things that are going wrong?
No.
Yes.
In the Star, State House ghost workers exposed.
Bam.
Just leave it there.
Okay.
In the Business Daily, top counties in borrowed shared phones use revealed. In the Standard, MPs live up to their laundry tag yet again. JSC to consider plea to kick out Kome 8 judges. Daily Nation, judiciary under siege. Alarm as hundreds fail to report varsities over funding crisis. Bugay moved in police shake up. The Nairobian, Narcos Queen Joyce Akinyi, lovers and drug empire. Mukurino, Karangu displays intimacy to wife and special friend. Okay, now, of all those things I have read, the negative one is which one? Which of these headlines is negative?
Which is not?
What? Top counties in borrowed shared phones use revealed.
It's a good thing.
These are people who understand, have a sense of community. I have a phone you don't have. Doesn't mean you can't communicate.
Yeah.
By all means, come and use my phone.
Okay.
If I give a letter M-Pesa, come through my phone.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. State House ghost workers exposed.
It's a good thing.
Well, yeah. You see, the thing
exposed.
is, anything that talks to you about life after death, it's good. Ghost workers.
I got it.
You got it. But then you see, but the other stories, right? Like in Siasa, the headline is President Ruto's real enemies now firmly with him in government. There's no such thing as enemies. How can this be bad news? This just tells you how we in the media sometimes misrepresent things. Enemies. The other day here, it was Kenya Kwanza. Look at the formation now. Where are the enemies?
It's broad-based.
It's broad-based.
People who are your enemies don't want to see you, talk to you. They don't even want to hear your name.
Yes.
These ones you are mentioned. You just stop short of calling the president or giving him an ecclesiastical name. Yes, Your Excellency. Okay, look at the Daily Nation. Judiciary under siege. Judiciary has been under siege for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay, they are blamed for this, they are blamed for that, they are blamed for that. And the freedoms we have, the people who've gone to JSC and said, kick them out. Fine, we'll see how that thing works out, won't we? Okay? What's negative about it?
I think, Sri, as well as, even if it's, you call that negativity or what you would want to say, I mean, as well as the Constitution gives you the right to just speak. So whether it's negative or positive, just speak.
Speak.
I think
Don't go around insulting people.
I get it, but I
Speak.
think the greater call here, and this is where this debate comes about, the greater call is that, can you not find anything that is good that's going on?
Let me read. Let me read something that is good. MPs live up to their laundry tag yet again. This is positive.
Yeah.
Confirming something that we know.
There's consistency.
Yes. How is it negative?
Yeah.
These are the same people who just in the time for not this even parliament, the other parliament as well. These guys have just followed the same trend. My friend, this borrowing limit, they just keep upping it and upping it and upping it and upping it. What does it mean?
We get
Every
more
time they
money.
up it, we have more to pay, and then we have less to spend in the country.
Yes.
They've done it yet again. Not that the people whom they have vetted have anything wrong with them. No, they are Kenyans. Okay, that's the qualification.
Yes.
And they are politicians. Another qualification. They've been in public service before. Another qualification. These guys are okay. Okay, unless someone is going to tell me that they have better candidates. Okay, so where's the negativity?
Okay.
You don't do.
Yes.
I know I'm being facetious. I don't know.
But I saw you a while ago.
Yeah, but you do know the point I'm trying to make.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. When things are said that are unpleasant, they're not necessarily negative.
Negative, yeah.
For instance, yesterday we had a guest called Professor Kagwanja, and he talked about Raila Odinga's age, and he talked about AUC and how it is that someone of his age should be trapezing across the continent. That was misinformation, really, because one, the secretariat is what is the AUC.
Yes.
The chair has a deputy. It is a deputy who is in charge of day-to-day running, and these things called running around. The deputy.
Yes.
Then you have a commission. The commission are like ministers who have dockets like agriculture, infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. That's what they have. So essentially, he doesn't have to do any running around.
Yeah.
The stature that he has enables him to be able to open doors, because if you're talking about presidents within the AU, he is a man who is their peer, and in some cases he's above being their peer.
Yeah.
He is a voice you can listen to in that position. Now, this is my view on the subject. But when it is presented and it is said because of his age, and you ask the question, so you question, where does age come in here?
Yes.
Does he have other qualities apart from his age?
Age that need to be considered.
Yes, and do they supersede the age? And the answer is yes. One could argue age even augments them.
Yeah. And one could argue that, if we talk about, sure, if they're unpleasant to hear, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are negative.
No,
Because
not necessarily.
If you're going to throw a fishing line into a pond or a river, and you would and you catch chickens, then I would be surprised.
Yes.
But if you throw a fishing line into a pond and you catch fish, then I would say, okay, well, that's what you get, because that is what is there.
You catch fish. That's why it's called fishing.
Fishing.
That's what it is there.
Yes. We don't call it hunting. We call it fishing.
If you open your eyes and you look around the country and the things that are happening are hitting you in the face, Ghostbusters.
And that's what you're talking about.
That is what is happening. That is what you see. It's not conjuring. It's not making up. This is what you see. I think what the onus that lies then upon us, is to be able to say, look, if this is going wrong, what are we aware? Number one, that there's a problem. Who is in a position to do something about it? How can it be fixed? Yeah. And that's why you have this constant conversation.
And I think as well as what people are calling negative. As it is, like, you could just read that story on the State House.
You talk about State House ghost workers exposed.
Is that a negative story? How I'd look at it just from that alone is the fact that now the public, we are aware that there are ghosts
workers everywhere, including
in the State House.
State House. That's what they're saying.
And that's a good thing, because now we can actually even call out the government and call out those who live in State House and ask them, how is it that you have ghost workers in State House? Fix that problem. Essentially what the headline is telling you, fix that problem. It is a positive headline.
We like to employ our relatives and friends and their friends and their relatives. We understand that helping people is finding them employment.
Yes.
Okay? And it is the mindset that we have. If I know somebody in a position of authority, they must help me give a relative of mine a job. When jobs come up and we hear they're recruiting policemen, I find somebody who I think wants to be a policeman or wants to be an AP or whatever it is. It's how we think.
Yeah.
So when you find it's a growth industry where people keep collecting bribes to offer jobs which they are not in a position to offer or to give, and then people complain, why are you complaining?
Yeah.
You are a part and parcel of the group that's encouraging that trade.
True.
Stop complaining. If there was no one offering bribes for people to be employed, what do you think would happen?
People would be employed for merit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least we'd see a higher number of people being employed for merit. But so long as it is accepted that to get a job, you must give people money, then what do you think you're doing? And you are part of and parcel of that group of people who give. Don't complain.
Don't complain.
No, don't. You have abrogated the right to complain when that is what you've done.
And there is also in relation to what it is you're talking about, City. We have an individual in Nairobi County Assembly, Mosiria, who's in charge of environment. He's going around these communities, residential areas, and making sure that clubs are not there and whatnot. And when you go to his social media where he posts on the work that he does, you see people complain, toka hapo, you see kazi, watu wanafanya kazi, go sleep in your house and whatnot, forgetting that there is actually even a planning code on where you can have a club and whatnot. And when this man is doing something that you would see to be positive, we go to say what you're doing is negative for us.
That is what freedom does.
Yes.
You get to see a diversity of how that is actually manifested.
Yes.
And again, that's where we judge your capacity for tolerance, because some of it may disagree with the way you think completely.
Exactly.
Okay? But this is someone who's probably protecting their turf, and they feel, why is this person interfering with our feel good? When don't I have freedom? You do. But when that freedom infringes on other people's freedom, then you have a problem with that freedom.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
And that's why you have watchdogs. You have watch people, rather. People who want to ensure that you don't do that very thing.
They call them cartels?
Well, for that reason, that is why, for instance, if you feel like taking a pee, you can't stand on the side of the road and take a pee.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
You can, but you shouldn't.
No, you are not supposed to.
Exactly. That's the thing. You can in terms of, I say can in terms of ability.
Or meaning it's something that
you have the capacity.
you have the wherewithal to.
Can,
yes,
but you should
not.
How very apt. Thank you.
You see, and I think for me this is the thing that I think that sometimes folks are blamed for pointing out what would be negative, because truly we are very uncomfortable with being called out. We are very uncomfortable with saying that there is a problem here, it ought to be fixed. We are very uncomfortable with saying, you've been doing this thing for the longest time and it is wrong. But we don't know how to call each other out. Even if we do, we are also uncomfortable with saying that this is wrong. Can you please pull back from it, or can you stop it? Or here are the consequences should you continue to do that.
But when we ourselves participate in wrong, and we expect support with our wrong, if not a whole troop of cheerleaders, then we will not call it out, because we also want someone to side with us when we know we've done wrong. Okay? So it is the culture that we have over time manufactured, we've created, and now it's become the norm.
So that is why when there is an accident and there's somebody who is responsible for the transport system and they resign, as happened in Greece, Italy, or when somebody takes his own life because he cannot bear with living knowing that people died because something that was under his control and under his authority did not work. When we hear such stories, we are met with chagrin and we say, how? Somebody resigned? Yes. Are you joking? Even on a lesser issue, somebody resigned from her office because a teapot, it's not a lie, teapot was missing from the inventory of 1, 2, 3, and then and she said, you know what, under my watch something went missing.
There's an uncle of mine who lives in Liverpool. He was telling me the other day that power did not go off. There was no blackout. It just shtukad. It just mad kidogo. Yeah. That individual resigned because the residents of Liverpool asked him, how could this happen under your watch? In Kenya, power goes for 3 days, whole night, airport, no power, but still people are in offices.
Well, but this is the thing, and when we talk about accountability and we talk about then holding people responsible for the positions that they do have, we need to get comfortable with saying, you are in a position to do 1, 2, 3. You should actually. I am in a position to make sure 1, 2, 3 happen. If I don't, what am I doing there? Where did you think you're going? To the beach? Where do you think you were going?
Let me just read this story for you. This is by BBC, a gentleman by the name of Joel Quinto. Yoon Suk Yeol has become South Korea's first sitting president to be arrested after investigators scaled barricades and cut through barbed wire to take him into custody.
Yes.
Why?
Introduced martial law to the citizens.
Yes, exactly, and it plunged the country into turmoil.
And don't forget, another park in Hay was actually taken to jail for bribing.
No, South Korea are famous for jailing former presidents. It's something they do, the way we take a trip to our ancestral home. Yes.
With regularity.
Yes.
Well, guess what? The senator for Kisii County is here. He is late. And if I'm just going